So what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper, and welcome everybody to today's video. Hope you're all having a great day. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about the top 15 ways to spot hackers in PUBG. Now, as of recent months, PUBG has really gotten their act together as far as like cleaning up hackers and cracking down on that sort of thing. But while it's much better, it's still not perfect. And so today we're going to teach you how to spot hackers more effectively, because not all hacks are made equal and some are really, really sneaky. So we're going to be going over that today. Now, if you guys do go on to enjoy today's video, I would really appreciate a like rating. You destroyed the like goal when we went for 2,000 in 24 hours, getting over 5,000, and that's mind-blowing. So today we're gonna go for the same thing, 2,000 likes in 24 hours, which would be absolutely phenomenal. And if you are brand new around here and you haven't already subscribed, make sure to go ahead and do that right now. We're getting so close to 250,000 subs, and it's an unbelievable goal that I cannot wait to hit. And one more thing before the video starts, I have something really cool to show you guys. A university professor recently has come to me and he developed a PUBG protractor. Now, what this is gonna allow you to do is get the actual mathematically formulated optimized jump. Now, it's true you can use like slips of paper that are rough estimates of how you should jump, but if you want the exact mathematical calculations to this, then check the link in my description and go give this tool a look. It's going to help you scale it for your particular screen and help you use it on every single map because they're all set up differently, so this protractor is going to help you jump perfectly on every map. So check the link in my description if you're interested in checking out this tool. It's very simple, very straightforward, and easy to use, so I highly recommend after watching this, then go give it a look for yourself and see if you like what you see. But with that being said, guys, let's get into the top 15 ways to spot hackers in PUBG. So coming in today at the number 15 spot is going to be probably one of the most blatant and easy to spot ones, and this is just simply aimbot. I think most of you are familiar with this type of hack. It's really, really easy to tell when somebody's using aimbot for the most part, right? Especially if it's blatant and it's in a situation where they otherwise would have no shot of hitting you. In a game like PUBG, aimbot is especially brutal just because of how hard the gunplay really is. So if you see somebody spraying with ease with whatever weapon and they're not missing a bullet and it's very clearly looking suspect, then it's pretty easy to tell that's an aimbot. However, aimbot in PUBG right now is pretty hard to come across. A lot of the hacks that are still in the game, especially like all around to every platform, they're a lot more sneaky than that. You guys have probably come across aimbot hacks before, not even in PUBG, maybe in any video game, but you know what it looks like, you know how to tell. You know it's like one of the most basic hacks that exists, and thankfully it's really not that rampant in this game, but there's definitely a couple more that are. Alright, coming in at number 14 is a hack that allows players to have increased movement speed, and here's the sneaky part about it, right? The thing that goes under the radar normally, no pun intended, is the fact that sometimes this, this movement speed increase can be like where they're just zipping all over the map, where it's really easy to tell, but sometimes it's not, where maybe it's only double or triple the movement speed, and it's like very controlled, and so it's sometimes hard to tell if somebody's moving faster or if you're just bugging out. Now, I feel like this one isn't as common, but some players have definitely reported that players have had increased movement speed, and it's like one of those low-key hacks that is a little bit harder to detect. You guys can let me know down below in the comment section if you've ever ran into a player that's moving faster than normal speed. All right, coming in at number 13 is there's a hack that allows players to not take any damage from the zone. As far as I'm aware, if you're only using this hack that players have seen, that this is the only thing that it does, and it doesn't give you unlimited health like to bullets and stuff like that, but just while you're in the zone. And this basically allows people to camp for as long as they want in the blue, even in the late game. So for example, you could be in circle 6 or 7 where it's really, really tiny, and you could have an enemy out in the blue that's just taking no damage, but you can't be out there because clearly you're gonna die very quick, but they could just gun you from out there, and there's really nothing you can do about that. Now, I'm not sure how common this hack is. I really don't see this one too much, but if this happens to you, sometimes you can get a false positive on this one. Sometimes some people just could be tanking the zone and kill you from there and get a really lucky hit, but sometimes it could be something a little bit more suspect. This particular hack is pretty dangerous, and I think something PUBG is cracking down on, because pretty much all somebody has to do is wait long enough for the zone to get, pretty damaging, and then they can just go wherever they like and then pick up the last remaining players in the middle of the zone. So that's definitely unfair, and that's something to look out for, especially if it happens in like zone 7 or 8, which nobody should be in. Okay, coming in at number 12 is a hack for no recoil, and I've seen this actually a couple of times. This might be one of the more common ones. Now, this is not the same thing as aimbot. The difference between these two is aimbot just allows you to like aim in and click or just shoot your weapon or whatever, and it's going to hit somebody. The no recoil aim, you still have to kind of like guide yourself, but your gun is going to virtually have no kick whatsoever. The thing about this hack is it's harder to detect than aimbot because it's normally not as blatantly like obvious as that one is, but the no recoil hack can look very suspicious, especially when gameplay's been recorded of it. There's no recoil hacks for basically like every single game, not just PUBG, but it's especially important in this one just because of how much of an emphasis there is on gunplay, recoil management, and you know what I mean? That's what makes the game fun. So if somebody's using a hack in order to like take that away, take that mechanic, first of all, it would be so unfun to play because then there's like absolutely nothing to do in that game if you don't have any recoil management. And also this one severely ruins the experience for all other players in game, and it's just absolutely unfair. So this is a hack to keep your eyes open for as well. Of all the ones on this list, it probably is of the more common, although it is not common when you're just talking match to match. All right, moving on, and coming in at number 11 is another like kind of classic one that I guess like every single first-person shooter game has to a degree, and this is just straight up, you know, easy wall hacks. This one's simple and straightforward. It simply outlines all of your enemies and making them easy to see through any object, any wall, like even through the floor if that's possible. Basically, there's nobody that you can't see or can't see you if they're running this hack. Now, unfortunately, this one's a little bit harder to tell if somebody's using a wall hack. The way that I recommend that you if you think somebody is kind of suspect of using it and they're tracking you in a gunfight, if you kind of run indoors or go in between objects and they track you perfectly, even though some of those bullets don't hit, then it's probably going to be a wall hack of some sort. The most obvious of cheaters use the aimbot plus wall hack, and that's one of those things where it gets banned really, really easily, thankfully, because it's just so obvious to see. But sometimes it is hard to tell the difference between somebody who's a smart player and kind of can predict where you're going to go and then a blatant wall hack. So it's important to distinguish between those two. But if something is, you know, if something is really suspect and it's going off in your brain that something probably isn't right, then it could potentially be a wall hack. Luckily for us, this is one of those cheats that's basically impossible to have in PUBG for right now. If somebody attempts to use wall hacks in this game in this day and age, it gets swatted down so fast. But somehow if somebody with wall hacks does manage to get by, this is what to look out for and report. Okay, coming in at number 10, this is a pretty interesting hack, and this one is a little bit hard to detect, and I'll tell you why. And this is just simply the 2D radar. Now, unfortunately, I think this, of all of the hacks in PUBG, this may be the most common. Now, I'm not saying that this is common match to match. There's a big difference, but just amongst the pool of hacks that still exist, this is probably the biggest of them. Now, the 2D radar basically gives the hacker a map of the battlefield and a really scuffed version of every single player that's walking around. It'll have a dot and it'll kind of show their direction of where they're going. And so basically, if you have an eye on where every player is at any given time, then you really can't lose. And unfortunately, this one is harder to detect and spot if somebody's using it than in comparison to most of these hacks. In fact, there was a case a couple of months ago where a couple of PUBG Pro players were caught using radar. I believe in an actual tournament setting too, and it was like an externally done thing, so it was a lot harder to pick up on, but they were still using a radar. And sometimes these hacks are not as obvious as something like an aimbot, and this is probably the one to look out for most. And it's really hard to tell if somebody's using radar because there's no like incriminating evidence unless you can physically find it. This is one to look out for, but it's also really easy with this one to get false positives as well, because it could just be a player that got really lucky, or maybe they just made a really smart play and you could mistake it for radar, although there are some times where it is actually radar. So I guess understanding it a little bit more, how it works, is the best way to determine the difference between a smart play and somebody using hack. All right, coming in at number 9 is a hack that I've never seen personally, but some people have reported to me, and it's definitely not popular at all, but this is an insta-kill hack. Now, this cheat doesn't do anything at all besides give whatever weapon you're using an insta-kill capacity. So even if you're using the weakest bullet weapon in the game, if you hit somebody with one shot, they're gonna die. Now, thankfully, this one's not popular, and it's really easy to determine if somebody's using this, because if you get one shot at full health with a P92, then clearly something is not right. This was a cheat that was pretty rampant, especially in early PUBG, but it's done so much recently to clean all that stuff up, and I've not seen this one hardly at all. Okay, coming in at the number 8 spot is a cheat that's similar to radar, but I think it's maybe a little bit more effective than that. This one's really sneaky because it's just a hack that it works like radar, but it just allows you to see players' names through walls and through doors and everything. And so while this one isn't as obvious as a wall hack, and it's certainly maybe a little bit harder to, if not just as hard to detect as a radar, then this one is pretty dangerous. But if you suspect a player might be using this name hack, then another good way to tell is kind of what I suggest with the wall hack one, is just maybe kind of go into a building and see if they track you perfectly, see if they know exactly or what corner you're in and stuff like that. But again, try to be careful in judging these, because it's easy to make the mistake of somebody who just made a very smart play, somebody who's using like a radar hack or something. Taking the number 7 spot is a hack that like effectively removes all the FX in game. And so what this allows players to do, this is especially dangerous in something like squads mode, where if you're reviving teammates and you throw smoke grenades down to like cover your trail or to pick up your buddy, then these players, the smoke will not exist for their game, and they're going to be able to see you like there was nothing there. It's not quite the same thing as a wall hack because they won't be able to see you through buildings and stuff, but they will be able to see you if you're like covered by a smoke, or there's like flames, something that's blocking your view, or even fog as a weather setting won't affect them. And so this one is very hard to detect as well. However, the easiest way to tell if somebody's using this hack is if they can just hit you perfectly and track you through smoke, which otherwise any player would not be able to do. All right, guys, coming in at number 6 is thankfully a hack that's really easy to pick up on, and this is invisibility. This is for sure one of the most annoying hacks to play against because there's really nothing you can do about it. If you can't even see your enemy, then there's no shot of you killing them. Now, invisibility hacks do happen sometimes, although it's super extremely rare, but when they do happen, it's easy to pick up on. If you get killed from somewhere you don't know where the bullets came from, and you like watch the death cam or something, and then they were like in your line of sight, or you were clearly looking at them, but they weren't on your screen, then that can obviously be ruled out as an invisibility hack. And again, the good thing about this one is that players don't get away with this one for too long at all. All right, coming in at number 5 is a hack that isn't quite like a wall hack, although it sort of does the same thing, but it's a little bit less blatant than the regular wall hack. Now, this is a border box that, highlights all players on your screen. The difference between this and the regular wall hack is the border box doesn't give the enemy an exact position on what you're doing. They just kind of have a general location of where you are, although it's still effective and it's definitely a cheat and it's something that, players should not be using. This is another one you can easily pick up on if somebody just tracks you perfectly through a building, or they kind of behave in the same way as if they were using a wall hack. Taking number 4 is going to be just the straight up invincibility hack. Now, I feel like for most players, this is the one that you can just most naturally detect, because if you play this game enough, you know how many bullets, like roughly the estimated amount of time that it takes to kill a player. And in those cases where you damage somebody way too much and they just don't die, and they clearly should have, and it's not even an ambiguous case at all, then this is probably an invincibility hack. Also, I need to mention this, if it wasn't clear from the beginning, the gameplay you're watching right now is not using hacks. This is simply a game I forgot to record live. My OBS wasn't recording and I couldn't rewind and get it, and it was a really nice gameplay, so I had to go back in PUBG's theater mode to clip this, and I can see why it would look like a hack. It's very contextual, right? You have all the names on the map, you have I can see basically the names through walls, so please do not get theater mode confused with a hack. These are not the same thing at all. Taking the number 3 spot is a hack for teleportation, and thankfully, again, like many on this list, it's really easy to detect, and you can clearly see this happening something like theater mode, or just with your own eyes if you record your own footage of it. Getting this hack in PUBG in the year 2019 is essentially impossible. I literally haven't seen a teleporter in years. But on the off chance somebody does happen to get a teleport hack in there, it's really easy to pick up on, and you should have no problems detecting that. All right, coming at number 2 spot is a dangerous one. This is basically a combination of all of the wall hacks, the border ones, and the name hacks in Radar all into a single cheat. Basically, the hacker in this case has all the information they could ever want. They'll have a complete radar on every player in the game. They'll have their loot tables, pulled up. They'll have essentially what their health is right now. Like, everything you could ask for will be at this hacker's disposal. The way to determine if somebody's using this hack is if for the majority of the game, they're just sat there looking at a wall or something, and then they kill people whenever they're within range, then this is clearly what they're using. All right, but finally, guys, coming at the number 1 spot, a hack that you should definitely be looking out for, and it's something that cheaters like to use all the time, is a loot hack. Now, the way this one works is that a player can essentially pick from a huge pool of loot in their vicinity at any given time, meaning that they could have basically what would take 5 minutes to loot in 1 to 2 seconds. Like, it's pretty crazy. Now, this one can be tricky to pick up on because it's not clear if somebody's just a fast looter or they got really lucky, because, you're clearly not looting with them, or else you'd probably be dead. But there is a trick to figure this one out if somebody is using this loot hack. Now, say like you're in Isnaya in the apartment buildings. If somebody has looted already and they've not even gone up to the upper floor, but you go up to the upper floor, nobody's been there, but there is 0 loot to be found whatsoever, then that's probably the hack that they're using. This hack turns them into a loot vacuum, and if there's places that shouldn't already be looted by somebody, but there's nothing to be found there, and it's clearly nothing to be found there, you just didn't get unlucky, then this is probably the cheat that's going on. And if that's the case, then you're probably in the clear to blow the whistle on them for that one. But yeah, that is going to be the top 15 ways to spot hackers in PUBG. Now, guys, me making this video, this is not condoning hacking in any way whatsoever. What I'm essentially trying to do is get you guys more aware about how these hacks work and what to look out for. PUBG is still doing everything they can to keep hackers out of the game, and they've made leaps and bounds, especially, from early on. And it's in a much better state than it is right now. If you quit playing the game because of hackers, then I think now is probably the best time to get on, as it's super rare and it's extremely extremely hard to do nowadays. But on the off chance that you do run into one and there is a hacker, then these are the things that you can be looking out for, because there's really nothing else that can be picked up outside of this realm. But I want you guys to let me know in the comment section if on your platform, if you've ran into any hacks that I did not mention. Let me know what that is down below in the comment section. If I missed an important cheat that people need to be aware about, then drop it down below in the comments, as people will probably be scrolling through there and then maybe pick up on things that I didn't mention in this video. But either way, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video, and I hope this was useful. So if you guys enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like rating, subscribe if you are brand new, of course, and also go check out my second channel, which is linked down below in the description. I'm uploading content. I'm going to be streaming there all day tomorrow, so go subscribe, and I'll see you guys over there. But I hope you guys end up having a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all on the next stream or the next video. Take it easy, guys, and peace out.